Good morning and welcome. I'm Heather Burns, founder and CEO of the Connecticut Sustainable Business Council. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, as well as Conscious Capitalism Connecticut Chapter, our silver sponsors, AvantGrid, UI, SCG, CNG, and Energize CT, as well as our supporting sponsors, Regional Water Authority and Vineyard Wind, we'd like to welcome you this morning to the first annual Connecticut Climate Action Business Summit. For the next 3 days, we will be convening some of the local areas, speakers, authors, subject matter experts, and sustainability professionals all together on one virtual platform. The idea for this summit came at the end of 2019. The fires were raging out in Australia, and there were some other severe weather events that really brought the climate crisis front and center to Connecticut Sustainable Business Council and its board of directors. And when we sat around and talked about what could we do, how could we help support our members and local businesses in their plight to address the climate crisis, the first thing that everybody said is, let's all get together. Of course, then a global pandemic hit out of nowhere, and we needed to take a little bit more time to pivot and readjust. So what you'll find over the course of the 3 days is you'll be able to pop in and out of programming. There are 4 distinct tracks. The first is the big picture. This is meant to provide you with trends globally and things that are impacting our climate on a very large scale, but also how do those connect down to what's important here in Connecticut. The second is small business. This is an essential sector to get involved and equipped with the knowledge and resources necessary to address the climate crisis. The third is brass tacks. How can you take some of what you've heard and really make it actionable within your company and community? And the fourth is activism. There's been a resurgence of activism that's taken on a new life, and businesses today are seeing the importance of staying informed and getting engaged. You're also going to hear from 3 very distinct keynote presenters with different perspectives. But what will be interesting is you may hear that there are a few themes that come through each one. Thoughts about collaboration, connectivity, and even courage. A lot of people refer to the pandemic as the Great Pause. It was a time in our history where everything shut down and we were really forced to reflect upon what's important to us. We had to look at how can we better balance our family, personal, and our professional lives. And what I'd like to encourage each of you to do over the course of this 3 days is really think about what matters to you, what's most important, and how can you get involved in what's a very essential issue around stabilizing our planet's climate. One of the exciting parts of the program is the networking lounge. This is a place where you can log in to a Zoom room throughout the course of the 3 days and sort of treat it like it's a hallway at a live conference and you want to pop in and out and meet new people. We're making that space available because it's our hope that you will take some of what you learn during the sessions and what you hear and talk more about what inspires you. Meet new people, plan collaborations, and get involved. And with that, let's get to it. Glenn?
Thank you, Heather, and welcome to everybody here this morning. This is a very exciting opportunity and a welcome collaboration with Heather Burns and her board with the Connecticut Sustainability Business Council. I first want to give you just a quick intro into what Conscious Capitalism is all about. Just to get you orientated and understand the context of how we're being involved. Now, Conscious Capitalism is a movement that was founded on the belief that capitalism it's good because it creates value to both parties. It's ethical because it's based on a voluntary exchange. Both parties are mutually involved. And it's noble because it can elevate our existence, and that's been proven by the fact that as a system, as a social structure, it has elevated millions and millions of people around the world out of poverty. So we know it works, but as we all know, it's really struggling in terms of how it can improve. This year in particular, we've had huge social, racial equity issues, and so we're really looking at the system and looking at ways that it can be structurally improved upon. So the way that conscious capitalism looks upon it is really that a conscious business really should be built on these four tenets. One is that they have a purpose beyond profit. Now, clearly profit is a motive that continues to inspire tremendous innovation globally. So it's a primary objective, but it has to have an underlying purpose. And people spend 90,000 hours of their lives working. So the opportunity to do something profound, to do something that's going to improve the human existence is a profound tenet of what we teach and believe at Conscious Capitalism. The second one is around stakeholders. Now, back in the 70s, it was always the shareholder was the primary stakeholder in any business. Well, with the Business Roundtable launching this year, their announcement that it's really the entire community that should be considered within the role of capitalism and being accountable to the community on a much wider sense. Leadership and culture go hand in hand, really, about servant leadership and creating environments that are good places to work and do good things. And the culture that is a result of that. I mean, that all sounds pretty kind of fuzzy, right? But here's some really solid proof points. I'm going to dwell on this for a minute because it's the most powerful sort of data that we can represent. There are many misconceptions about conscious capitalism. Does it veer into socialism? Does it do this and that? Well, our founding father, Raj Sisodia, and John Mackey, who was the founder of Whole Foods, have written extensively on this. And they've published 2 books, Good to Great and Firms of Endearment. And the companies that are profiled in these publications have profoundly outstripped the performance of our famous S&P 500, which is considered, the gold standard of corporations and their performance. So this is not just fuzzy science. This is not just a good idea to make you feel good and sleep well. There are clear business benefits from operating along these lines. Conscious capitalism is a global movement. There are 50 chapters globally, a lot of companies that have involved themselves in many different ways. That represents a huge community of employees. And this slide just shows you some of the brands that are involved in this movement. Of course, bringing it back down to the local chapter, the Connecticut chapter was formed in 2016, and we have been really busy, particularly this year, cultivating a community of people that care about business and its outcomes in the community. We've pivoted in COVID times to a weekly town hall event where we've had the benefit of having tremendous conversations with a huge range of companies, some of which are on this slide, and authors of books that really have doing great work and will continue to be part of this community, covering issues, hot topics now around social equity, racial equity, and so on, that are all part of the ecosystem that we care about. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Regional Water Authority, who are quite active in this session today, and you will be hearing more of them. And I do just want to take a minute to explain a little bit more detail as to how conscious capitalism and the Sustainable Business Council got involved. At the board, we were intending to set up a larger event towards the end of this year, and as fortune would have it, we started talking with Heather, who had had come a long way in organising this event. So we thought this would be a really good opportunity for us to collaborate and co-produce this event, because it represents so much of the kind of world that we want. So I'm very excited about this collaboration. I'm very grateful for the support of the Conscious Capitalism Board, in particular our chairman, Gavin Watson, and some other board members that you will have the benefit of listening to over the next 3 days. So that's going to be a really good reveal to you. And on a personal note, this is a very passionate issue for me. I grew up in Australia. I've been traveling there a lot recently. And as Heather mentioned in her setup, the fact that my home country went up in flames late last year was tremendously upsetting. And the fact that some of my best friends have become Australia's first climate refugees, apart from the fact that there was millions of animals and lots of lives lost, a very upsetting event for me. And coming back to North America, I'm aware of the fact that the symptoms and the effects of climate change are very unevenly distributed and unfairly distributed. And in the New England area, a lot of people are saying, well, it's just like climate change. It's like global warming. All of these words that we use are quite benign to describe what is a very urgent issue for everyone on this planet. The planet doesn't care, but it's about the survival of the human race that is at stake here. So, and as a branding guy, if I may speak freely from a branding point of view, the sustainability movement hasn't done a really good job of getting a clear proposition, a clear value proposition with those benign words like climate change and global warming. They can be seen as quite, quite attractive. So I think we owe it to ourselves to try over the next 3 days to improve the way that we present this to the world, because clearly it's not getting the traction that it deserves, which is why I'm so excited to be here and share this great event with you all today.